Adult animation is an industry I would describe as mixed, at least in Western media. That's not to say there aren't new shows destined for greatness, with shows like Smiling Friends rising to prominence and Learning with Pibby looming up on the horizon. However, despite series like these, there are quite a lot of duds. From shows that last long past their expiration date, series that rely too much on not safe for work content just to elicit a bit of crude shock value, and shows with heavy prominence but struggle to execute upon it, and don't get me even started on toxic fans. So it's incredibly refreshing to come across a series that feels like it not only has potential, emotional depth, fluid animation, but also has strong voice talent and a consistent streak of self-improvement. I'm talking, of course, about Olan Rogers' animated series, Final Space.
What the mother-loving crap is Final Space?
Now, I've only just started watching it myself, but seeing how Season 3 wrapped up in fall of 2021, I'm sure Season 4 is right around the corner. We're not allowed to have nice things, are we? Hello, Dreamers and Doomettes, I'm your host Dee, and as some of you returning viewers may have noticed, I've been just a little bit busy these past few months. As personal work piled up, I've had a lot on my plate to deal with, so during these periods of intense workload, I try to unwind a bit by turning on the TV and letting one of my favorite animated series just sort of play out in the background while I multitask. But this time I didn't feel like doing my usual King of the Hill marathon and was craving something a little bit different. That's when I stumbled across Final Space on HBO Max. Now, I didn't catch this series when it aired initially because honestly I heard some pretty mixed things about it, but for some reason this time I was feeling a little bit generous and decided to give it another chance. This was a mistake. As while I initially tuned in hoping for some mindless content to fill an empty, noiseless void, what I instead found was a series that I rapidly grew incredibly attached to. A series with characters you could really invest in, with a rich sense of world building and heavy-hitting emotional moments, which quite honestly really pulled hard at the heartstrings, and rewatching it they still do. So despite its cancellation, I wanted to take a chance to give my thoughts on it and hopefully expose it to more people in an attempt to give this show the support it absolutely deserved, and really just talk about why it worked compared to other adult animated series. So before we begin, as always, if you're enjoying this content and want to see more, be sure to like the video or even subscribe to keep this type of content flowing. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. So with that said, take a cookie and let's dive on in to Final Space.
Hey, eat me! I'm delicious! I'm a cookie!
What? It's not like I'm imagining murderous killing confections.
I'm gonna kill you.
Now, because I'd hope to inspire you to check out this series if you haven't already, I won't be talking about any hard spoilers, but I will discuss some general themes, introduction to the main characters, and general story elements, and where better to start than the inception of the series. Developed by Olan Rogers, Final Space debuted on television in 2018, but its trace on the internet exists long before that. You see, Rogers actually began his career on YouTube, creating sketch videos and animation projects, and in 2006 his first animation was a project titled Gary Space. Roger describes it as, well, see for yourself.
This quest started back in 2006, when I constructed what might be the absolute worst cartoon man has ever made. It was called Gary Space, and it was terrible.
I will give the creature a verbal command of extreme difficulty. Cheese.
Intended to be an episodic online series, it consisted of an astronaut named Gary befriending a small alien named Mooncake. It lasted for 3 episodes before the project was scrapped in favor of a rebooted concept, followed by a proof of concept for a new series in 2015. That proof of concept being, of course, Final Space. This proof of concept, later turned into a pilot, had an interesting twist which was based on suggestions from his partners. Rogers decided to place the pilot as something that would happen towards the end of a hypothetical series rather than at the beginning. It shows the deaths of what would be significant characters, flashbacks to assume significant events, and even showed what would be a bad guy victory. Honestly, it was a great hook for a pilot, and it certainly caught the attention of real big names like Adult Swim and Conoco. Eventually, the pilot was picked up by TBS, and production began, with one of the companies behind it being Shadow Machine, which produced several series like Robot Chicken, BoJack Horseman, and Moral Oral, which is certainly deserving of its own video. The animation itself was handled by Jam-Filled Entertainment, a Canadian company company whose most prominently known series is most likely going to be The Loud House and Inside Job on Netflix. The animation of Final Space is something which really stands out, as it feels like a pulp sci-fi story from the mid-20th century with fluid animation and highly expressive characters. One thing of particular note to me is that a lot of the wider space shots are just beautiful to look at and hardly feel like just a typical black void of nothing. A potential reason for this is because they actually used imagery from NASA to develop the backgrounds, the result of which is a colorful series that really could only exist in an animated format and is just a treat to watch. So it's here I'd like to transition from the behind-the-scenes details into the actual story information. So what exactly is Final Space? Final Space tells the story of Gary Goodspeed, an astronaut serving a prison sentence on a repair ship who comes across a mysterious powerful alien, which he calls Mooncake. Along the way, he picks up some valued allies in the form of Avocado, a former mercenary who wants to recover his son, Quinn, a member of the intergalactic organization called the Infinity Guard, Hugh, the AI of Gary's ship, and many more memorable characters. From here, they fight to save the Earth and the galaxy from the evil Lord Commander, an alien tyrant who seeks to use Mooncake's power to access the dimension known as Final Space and ascend to godhood. Then I guess there's Kevin. God, Kevin is just the worst.
We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
Shut the hell up, Kevin.
Unlike several other adult animated series, the plot is ongoing and sequential, with episode events leading directly into each other as a part of the larger narrative. Although it certainly makes things more difficult to watch individually and promoted the need to binge the series, the result was an engaging story that left you to connect the dots, where you could see the seeds being planted for a payoff later on. Episodes always ended with the perfect stinger of what to come next as the stakes raised higher, and it hardly felt like there was a moment to catch a break, but in the best possible way. As the characters interacted more with each other and dynamics became more prevalent, I found myself growing more attached to them and their journey throughout the series. And of course, none of that would have been possible had it not been for the impeccable voice talent. Olan Rogers plays both Gary and Mooncake, giving energetic and quirky life into characters who genuinely mean well. While there are some scenes that I wish the character's humor was maybe dialed down a little bit, Rogers brings a heavy passion to the role that I don't think could have been fulfilled by anyone else. Gary Goodspeed is incredibly important to him, and I think that his voice work not only displays that, but shows that he owns the character.
Look, you're a good guy. To the max core. I'm never gonna let you go again. I now know the only one I can trust with you is my own awesomeness. I'm starting to like these.
Joining him are the likes of Tom Kenny as Hugh, Fred Armisen as Kevin, Stephen Yeun as Little Kato, and Tika Sumpter as Quinn, just to name a few of the extraordinarily talented cast. Personally, the real standout performance to me was of the Lord Commander. Want to take a guess who played him?
It leaves a hole in the fabric of reality. And that hole, you think, oh, should we leave it alone? Should we back off? Should we play it safe? Nah, you think, let's make it bigger!
That's right, David Tennant, the best Doctor, did a stunning performance as the megalomaniac overlord seeking to conquer the known universe, and he did a stellar job at balancing humor with being a genuine threat to the cast.
Lord Commander, I bred your medicine, sir. I put a little biscuit on the side, just for you, my special little prince.
What is this?
I like the much littler kind of biscuits. I have told you this, Eric.
I told you this!
As I've said, the first season has a wide range of emotions, from genuinely funny scenes to heart-wrenching moments that seriously ramp up the drama. But that being said, if I had to describe the first season, I'd also have to say it's a little bit flawed as well. Don't get me wrong, this video is certainly intended to praise the series, however there are certainly some moments that maybe didn't have fitting moments of humor, or sometimes Gary did get a little annoying with his behavior. And when Final Space initially came out, people definitely took note of that, and it became a point of criticism against the series.
I'm Gary. A lot of people on Reddit think I'm annoying. Well, I guess they have a point. But if you really want to know annoying, just hang out with Kevin for 5 horrendous years.
Now, allow me to sidetrack for just a moment. In today's age of entertainment and social media, things can be extremely hostile. When something doesn't go well, people take to Twitter and YouTube and it's torn apart. Now, don't get me wrong, there's certainly a fair share of media that absolutely deserves to be looked at with criticism, but when you consider this from the creator's point of view, it really can be difficult. When faced with criticism, many creators have in turn had negative reactions to the fan base, which creates a very tense, us versus them mentality. Fans can be a bit harsh based on their own expectations and experiences, and creators are certainly capable of taking that personally, as after all, what they create is, in essence, their baby. But what stood out to me about Olan Rogers was, when faced with criticism regarding Final Space and some of the characters, he actually responded really warmly, even directly leaving comments in some of the YouTube videos and talking about the learning curve of developing a series, talking about some of the difficulties of working with a network without completely blaming them as a scapegoat, and most importantly, talking about how he was going to improve. And the best part, Rogers certainly kept to his word. Season 1 absolutely had some flaws with the fluidity of jokes and some character dynamics, and maybe certain scenes not really holding their gravity because of it, but Season 2 saw a massive improvement, with the introduction of new characters and the expansion of lore as well as new light being shown on past events. It really gave the series a prompt shot in the arm to truly make it feel immersive, and this was something Season 3 expanded upon as well. However, this brings us to the tragedy of the video. In fall of 2021, as a result of the merger between Warner Media and Discovery, Final Space unfortunately was cancelled at the end of its 3rd season. This honestly was pretty gut-wrenching, as not only was the show displaying clear signs of improvement, but the 3rd season had concluded with some major unresolved plot threads. Sometimes the television network gods are, how should I put it, ungraceful. And sadly, that's where things are today. Rogers has said a few times on social media that he's been working to try to get something going up again, such as a TV movie, but regrettably the chance of that is looking pretty slim at the moment. Despite that, it doesn't seem like the experience has left Rogers heartbroken. Certainly anyone would feel disappointed, but again, what I found truly admirable was Rogers' message to his fans on his YouTube channel. It was about getting back up again after falling down, and rather than just making a video about his own experiences with the show, Rogers extended it outwards, putting a heartfelt motivational message out there for anyone struggling with something or feeling fallen down. And I'll link the video here for you because I'd really like to encourage you to check out his video because it was really coming from the heart. So looking upon the series as it was regrettably cancelled, I'd have to say if there's anything to take away from Final Space in its current state, I'd say it's aspirational, both in fiction and in a meta sense. I find it ironic in a way that the description for the original Gary Space video says to give it a chance because things get better with time, and that absolutely was the case with the Final Space series. Despite some initial shortcomings, Rogers and all of the show staff displayed a clear desire to create the best possible series they could put out. It's because of that, which, despite some of my slight criticism about the series, I wouldn't change a single thing about it. It's those flaws that put itself in a position to be able to improve upon itself, and because of that, I'd say that is just as much a part of things as anything else. And I don't think I'd take it any other way because all of that together is what created its unique identity, standing apart from other adult animated series. Now, I'm sorry if this video is a little bit rambly compared to some of my other ones, but it all comes down to the fact that initially this was a series I passed over, simply being busy with other things, but when I finally sat down to watch it, I was shocked at how much I loved it. I laughed, I cried, I got mad, I felt glad. It was really just the right type of series for me to get emotionally invested into when I had no expectations for it. And I just needed a chance to share some of those sorts of feelings I got from it and hope someone else could find the same. So if I had a lesson here beyond just recommending the series, I'd say it's that you should give things a second chance. No matter how they start off, head in with an open mind at first because you really don't know what you could possibly get out of it. And regarding Final Space, despite the fact that it got cancelled, I actually don't feel all that sad about it. Sure, I would absolutely adore the series to continue, but I mean, if the series creator isn't all that broken up about it, why should you be? And it doesn't take away from the fact that what's currently available from the series is still there to really enjoy. Who knows, if enough people show support from it, maybe the brain trust of television executives will actually see something worthwhile bringing back. But even if nothing else happens and all we have are these 3 seasons of content, I really hope you still give Final Space a shot. You can find it available on HBO Max currently, or for purchase on Amazon if you want to support the series. If the outcome of this video is just one more person to start to watch it, that'd be a victory in my book. And I suppose if I try to look on the bright side, if Final Space doesn't get picked up again, at least I've seen the last of the likes of Kevin. I hope.
I will never leave you, Gary. I will be your deep space insanity avoidance forever companion. I swear to God, Kevin!
If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. During the production of this one, my channel just surpassed a new milestone of 10,000 subscribers, and I'm absolutely amazed by that. I really appreciate each of you for your support of the channel, and I thank you for your patience with me. As promised, due to reaching 10,000 subscribers, I can get to work on the Griff Did Nothing Wrong video, and you can expect to see that in the coming weeks as I finish one more video I have planned. Have you already seen Final Space? Can you believe they actually got David Tennant for this? Let me know in the comments below, or feel free to tell me what type of videos you'd like to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I could see you next time.